Hi, and welcome back to the Stained Canvas. So today I thought it would be fun because it's kind of rainy and fall time rain and things like that. I thought it would be fun if we did a water raindrops on a window with a kind of a blurry background type of thing. So the first steps that I'm doing is I'm just vaguely drawing in shapes of branches of the trees that you'll be able to see through the window, right? So we're not doing specific leaves, we're just doing vague, broad shapes of the trees, okay? And we're going to go in with some Payne's Gray and some Sap Green. And we will also need some gouache and two different kind of paintbrushes. So we're going to need a very detailed little tiny paintbrush, and we will need a wash brush. I just have a regular old wash brush here. And the first colors I'm putting down is some Payne's Gray because we are going to do the sky. And for the sky, all I use is the Payne's Gray. And it's got some really nice variation in it. Like, I don't know, Payne's Gray is just my favorite dark color. I don't like using black because I just find it so harsh. Whereas the Payne's Gray has kind of like got bluey color tone in it. So it works very well for doing a rainy kind of gloomy sky. So first off, all I'm doing is wetting the entire piece of paper. And I'm not worrying about my line marks because you'll be able to see where those shapes are. So now first steps first is put a wash of Payne's Gray down. And I'm putting a little piece of washi tape, like a washi roll, behind my stuck down piece of paper so that all the liquid kind of flows downward towards the bottom of the page, right? And then I'm just going over with my Payne's Gray. I want to get a gray, cloudy, gloomy sky. So we're just going to go in and we're going to keep putting the color in. I actually off screen go and grab some more and just add some more. And I'm going to just add it in and keep growing the layers. And you can kind of see them with the roll of washi tape underneath on the one side. You can see everything's kind of dripping down very slightly because it's not a very intense angle that I have my board at. But yeah, you can see everything is kind of sliding downwards, and that's okay. That's kind of what we want. And we're going to add some more. Now I'm kind of searching for where do I want my deepest, darkest parts of the clouds to be. Because you don't want a solid background, right? We want some value, and value means lights and it means darks. So here I'm just putting the darkest parts of the clouds, and I want it to be blended in. I don't want any sharp edges for anything of the background because when we draw our water drops on, the blurrier the background, the better. Because what our focus will be on is the drawn water drops. So right here, I'm just searching out the clouds, like where I want the darkest parts to be. And I can see my tree drawing through this, so I'm not even going to bother putting any kind of cloud in the bottom right hand corner because that's going to be all tree and foliage. So it's going to be green and gray in that bottom area. So I'm just concentrating on putting my values up in the right side and somewhat towards the end, the bottom as well, on the right side, on the left side, excuse me. I mean the left. But you see I have some kind of cloudy looking marks here. Now I'm going to go in with my trees and my foliage. So I'm adding sap green to the Payne's Gray, and everything is still very wet on the piece of paper, so it's going to spread, and we want that. And I'm just tapping it in. I don't want very clean strokes here. I don't want everything to blend in really well, because when you're looking at a tree and leaves and things like that, there's going to be little holes, and there's going to be darker leaves, and there's going to be lighter leaves. And when you're looking far away, like say through a rainy window, you don't really see Like everything's blurry, and we want to kind of keep it that way. So you see me going in with some more straight up Payne's gray. I'm going to actually do the same thing with the sap green. I'm going to take more straight sap green and just dot it in. And it's going to start to drip kind of off my paper, and you'll see me, I'll lift up my pink board and I'll just wipe the bottom because I don't want it to drip all over my desk and stuff. But you see me here, I'm just spotting in the colors and then they're kind of spreading. And then here it's kind of dripping down. So I'm just tidying up a little bit as I go. It's still very wet on this paper. And I'm going to go in with some more colors. So I'm going to take some more green and some more gray and add more and more. I'm building up my layers. So I'm still trying to stay within the confines of the drawing I did. But I need to like make the darks darker for sure, because that's really what's going to set it off. Because right now it just looks like a cloudy sky, right? But when I add more green, when I add more darks, you're going to see that it really does become like a blurry tree through the window. So we're just going to continue with that for now. And I really do just go and grab right from the palette and put more color in. So I'm just letting it drip right now and spread a little bit, making sure nothing spreads where I don't want it to. And then we're going to pick up some of this excess moisture on the bottom here. And we're going to add some more green, I believe. Yeah, more green, more Payne's gray, just continuing to make those shapes darker, deeper, more variation of green in it as well. In watercolor, you just want to work slow, right? So look, the green and the Payne's gray are kind of blending really nicely in here. And also I'm going to go in, like once I'm done with the tree part here, I still want it to be very blurry, but I'm going to go in and darken up some of the sky, because since I darkened up the leaves in the tree tops, the sky is going to look very light, like much lighter than what I want it to. And like I have this problem a lot when I add all my darks. My other darks and my middles don't look so dark anymore, so I have to go back in and readjust that. But here I am. See, I'm loving this. I'm loving how the greens and the Payne's gray are just kind of spreading, and some greens still staying in there, and then some Payne's gray is darker, and it really looks like, you know, really wonderful treetops and type of thing. And everything is wet on wet still. Nothing has had time to dry. It's still very moist, not dripping or puddly, right? We don't want the puddles, but the paper is still nice and wet. So see how this makes it look like the different branches and different, you know, leaves, area variations and stuff. I love this. I love this one. And it did actually turn out quite nice. And always, you can pause this video if you need to. If you want to paint along with me, it's not a problem. Just going to go in a little bit more, and I think I'm going to darken this corner with a little more green. But then, yeah, once I get all the variations where I like, I start on the sky again. And I be very, very careful, because the sky is still wet and I don't want to overpower it. I just want to promote some of those dark clouds more. I'm going in with some green here. I think I'm going to go with some of the cloud here. So it looks super duper dark, but then I'm going to go in and calm down the edges a little bit. So I'm going to clean my brush just a tiny bit and then swipe it along the edges. And you'll see once I get more of the darks in, I'll start cleaning up the edges a little bit, and you'll understand what I mean. Like, it just softens everything and makes the clouds look you know, like it's one large cloud with just depths and stuff in there. So we are about to start on tidying up those harsh edges. So see, I'm just going to wipe a little bit of clean, it's my clean brush. It's just got clean water in it, and the water just kind of, see how it softens that whole line there? Because I don't want those sharp lines, right? Like clouds are fluffy and soft, and I'm trying to portray that. I'm going to actually go in on the left more and fix up those two clouds over there as well. And we're just like smoothing things out, but trying not to erase them, but just darken some areas. Really get my background nice and good before I add the water drops in. So see here, just wet paintbrush, clean wet water, not dripping, because if you drip it then it'll like spread all over the place. So rinse your brush, tap it, blot it if you see dripping water off of it. But look how softened these edges are now. So this is like perfect technique to do cloud and things like that. I'm just darkening this whole corner. I feel like it's just too white because it needs to be, you know, darker, right? And I'm going to soften all that corner as well. Just get those edges nice and clean and gentle. And then once you're done with this, you know, getting every cloud the way you want it to be, you're going to let this part dry. Now you want it to be super nice and dry because you're going to be drawing with watercolor on top. And if it's wet, you won't have those crisp like water drops and stuff. And I'm just adding a little more green because I felt like it right here. I sometimes will be like, oh, that's not enough. That's not enough green. That's not enough. But, you know, now's the time to do it because it's still wet. It hasn't dried yet. So now it's nice and dry. And I'm going to show you the movement that we do for the water drops. Now, one side of your water drop is going to be a darker, thicker line. So if your sun is shining through the water drop, like on this drop I'm making here, the sun is coming in from the right angle. So that means it's making a shadow on the left side. So you see how I'm making a very thin line on the right side and a very thick line on the left side of this circle-y shape? That's because there's a drop shadow type of deal going on with that water drop, because the sun's coming in through the thin lined side and it's showing a bit of a shadow, so it makes it look thicker on the other side. Now this is a very, very important part. Every single one of your water drops has to have the shadow on the same side. So it doesn't matter, we're just making these odd shapes. We're not making perfect circles or, you know, the classic teardrop shape. We're making odd shapes. And each one of those odd shapes should have the darkest side on the same side. So my sun's coming in from the right, so my darkest sides have to be on the left side of these water drops. It's very important to remember that. If your sunshine or light glare is coming in from the left, then your darkness for your water drops, your thicker side of your water drops, has to be on the right. It's just tricky. Mine, I'm always doing light from the right, so darker on the left. So that's how I'm going to commence and keep going with my actual painting. Now, I do suggest you do like I do and get a scrap piece of paper and practice, because once you bring your paintbrush, your wet paintbrush, to your dry painting, you get all kinds of nervous because you're like, do I really want to ruin this accidentally, right? So just do some practice water drops. Get used to working with the really fine, you know, paintbrush. Make sure you remember to put all your shadowed sides on the same side. So on the same, you know, coming from the left. And Yeah, and then once that part dries, we're going to go in with some white gouache. So if you have white gouache or Chinese white, or even you can use like a white Posca fine tip, whatever you have, that'll be the last step though. So here we go. I am getting up my nerve and I'm going to put in all of my raindrops. Now I'm just going in with some Payne's Gray because it's the darkness that I've been using for the entire thing. If you decide to use not Payne's Gray, you're going to use whatever dark paint that you used for the sky. Okay, it's going to have to be the same kind of color. So here I am, I'm all kinds of nervous, and I'm going in, adding my shadows, making a, like, you can make as many raindrops as you want as well, right? I just make a few because it's kind of like it rained, but now it stopped raining and things are kind of drying up, you know. So now you see all of my raindrops have the darkest side on the left, and now where the sun is shining, so on the right of my raindrops, I'm putting my glare. So it's not even sunny, it's just glaring from that side. So I'm going in with my white gouache. If you're using Chinese white, that works too. If you want to use a white pencil, you can try that as well. And I'm just highlighting all the thin sides of my water drops. And then once you get all that down packed, it really does look very much like a wet window because the background's all fuzzy and you're really just focusing on all these water drops. So I hope you liked it. I really kind of love how this one turned out. And yeah, if you want more tutorials on painting, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. And I will see you guys next time on the Stained Canvas. So bye for now.